Hey everybody, Corey from Aquarium Co-op. Today, we're taking a peek at the fish room, and I want to start with some controversy. Because someone talked to me about it, and I was like, I don't know if that's fish room true. So, the concept was that brine shrimp eggs, or the brine shrimp that hatch out, are only good if you feed it right after they hatch, and not 36 hours later, or whatever. Like, Dean's doing that, I'm doing that. So this is an experiment that I've had going just for a long time. This was a batch of brine shrimp that I hatched out and harvested like right when I got back from Brazil or something. So now it's been 2 months. I've done nothing, but I put a little bit more water in there once, but I've done absolutely nothing except for harvest shrimp and fed them. And what was left, they've grown into adults. I've never put food in. I've not done anything. There's still like the eggs are kind of, you know, probably rotting in there or whatever. But if you're asking, like, how do I grow up adult brine shrimp? My answer has always been, how are you not growing up adult brine shrimp? These sea monkeys just kind of grow. And so here's my hypothesis. It's not that the paper that everyone kind of cites is wrong, because I'm sure there is some more nutrition in newly hatched brine shrimp than when they grow out. But we're talking a matter of hours or maybe even a day or two. And I don't think there's just none, because how would these grow up? Like, I'm not going to say that these brine shrimps are the healthiest brine shrimps you've ever seen, because I've never had food. I'm not advocating that these brine shrimp are more nutritious than freshly hatched. I'm just advocating for, sure, at 48 hours, is there that much of a difference? I've never seen a big difference in my fish room. Plus, I just wanted to show you that hatching out brine shrimp and raising it up is easy. Now, they're not happy enough that they're giving birth to live ones. If you didn't know that, brine shrimp, when they're happy, they're live bearers. When they're not happy, they lay eggs. So I'm just, how long can this go? We're at 60 days, basically, and it's still going. So, yeah. I've been pulling fry like a madman. The Corydoras, ever since I moved the Rosie Barbs out, have been laying eggs. So this was, the one on the left is one batch. And I tried some new things. So I couldn't find my methylene blue, so I put a shrimp in to keep fungus off the eggs. They hatched out just fine. You can see these are orange Laser Corydoras all throughout the tray. And then I had another batch, and I said, hey, I'm not going to put in a shrimp, which there's a shrimp in there now to eat the leftover food, but they also hatched out perfectly well. So without methylene blue, they also hatched. And then a few days later, 5 days later, the Corydoras said, okay, now we've really been eating a lot of food, and they laid 100 eggs. And so you could probably see them there. So yes, there's newly hatched in here and more to hatch. On the side, I was rolling them off of my finger, and you could see them there. And they're starting to get eyeballs and everything. It should hatch in the next day or two. And then, of course, yesterday there was more eggs on the glass, just like 4 or 5, and I didn't even bother to pull them, but they're still there today, so I'll show you that. But I've just been working on the fish room a little bit. Mostly, one of my big tasks, I had Dean over, we didn't film, but the goal was, how do I make it so the fish room doesn't fall apart when I'm gone? Because I'm going to do a lot of traveling this year. Basically, 12 plus weeks of just pure travel, so not being home. Also, I want to admit I failed my get rid of all my snails goal of this year. I did not get rid of them all. I have gotten rid of probably 60 to 70%. I've got 2 Shodanai puffers doing the rounds, helping me out, moving tanks, and it's definitely way better than it was last year, but you can still see, like, hey, buddy, get to eating those. This tank had a lot, and I haven't done this tank at all. So I failed that. That was one of my New Year's resolutions. Or to get done this year. I'm almost completely out of duckweed. I have 1 tank that I know of that has it, and I just need to put a goldfish in there and finish it off. But, oh yeah, new fish everywhere. So these are Lemon Ninja Mollies that I bought on Aquabid. That's right. I found fish to buy on Aquabid, and it was kind of this group here. So Lemon Ninja, I don't know about the name, but I do like the way they look. I'm enjoying them. They got like a little bit of blue in them and that kind of stuff. And then from the same buyer, I bought an assorted group of mollies, and these ones have some of that electric blue molly gene or whatever you want to call it in there. It's like this female, if it'll focus on that female. Why? There we go. Oh, I had it for a second. And those came as a group, so I just threw those into here. And then I also, so these are Dan's fish. They got moved. So a lot of people ask, like, did they die? Like, no. A little bit of marine salt and quarantine meds I put to them, fixed them all up. So those 3 are here. And then I've got, some, double alpha mixed with Hamburg swordtails. And there's a trio of them in here, I believe. But these were fun. So I also grabbed these. There's another one up there. From the same guy. So I ended up buying quite a bit. Planted some new plants. You can see here there's an Ulvaceous that came in. This one got unrooted and I haven't replanted it. But also Madagascar Lace right there. Trout Goodeids went back to the store, making some room. I'll talk about why. Sent the adult knife live bears back to the store, kind of trying to do more fancy live bears. And you can see I've got all these fry to grow out. We've been harvesting shrimp like madmen in here. And then, still some Dan's fish, and you can still see more snails. So maybe we're like 50-50 here. Now, as I haven't fed yet today, but I'm seeing more and more snails, so about 50-50. So one of the goals was I haven't scraped algae in 3 weeks now in any of these tanks. So the goal, I turned the lights down a little bit, and the 800-gallon was really, really giving me problems. Every week, at least once, I had to do algae patrol. So got some new tanks I want to plumb in, so that's kind of why I'm getting rid of some fish, getting ready to move some fish. But here is the new lighting system for the 800-gallon. I'm going to talk about it so that you guys understand it. I'm going to use these sponge filters as a stand. So hopefully it'll be nice and stable. Well, kind of. I know I just rock back and forth. So, up top, we went back to track lighting. So I got rid of basically the $2,500 in Chihiro's lights I was using, which was using a ton of power. And I went to these track lights where I can switch out the bulbs, and then I printed 3D printed hoods. I did that in white originally, and then it lit up like a lampshade, and I learned don't print 16 before you test them. So I tested one in black, and I go, that works, but white was probably better. Printed 16 in white, took like 4 days, then put them on there and go, that's not going to work at all. But let me talk about what you see up here. There's actually 2 tracks. So one in the center that's lit up right now, that's the always on track. What I mean by that is comes on at noon, goes off at 8. It's actually 10 to 6. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., boom, I have that light, whether I'm in here or not. And that's only in the middle of the tank, so it doesn't really put much light on the glass at all, okay? The second track in the front and the outside, so I'm going to use my finger here, these 2, all the way through the front and the sides, that's not on right now. My main goal was to put that on a motion sensor, and I have accomplished that. I also, just because I want to test, did that to this 10-gallon. So this 10-gallon, I have it set up so that normally it'll come on at 10 a.m. and it will go off at 6 p.m. Actually, I think I reduced the hours. I think it's now noon to 4. Noon to 4. But what happens when my wife comes in and wants to feed this tank later in the day or earlier in the day? Or I'm in the room. I don't want to sit at my desk over here and not have those on and be able to look at them, right? So I put a motion sensor. And so we're going to go over here. And right on the side of this tank, I put a motion sensor for now. When I walk by it, it will kick on the lights here, and they will stay on for an hour. Unless it's at the times I'm normally here. So if it's before 4 p.m., they'll just stay on. And then basically every hour or two after 4 p.m., they'll go back off. So if we walk into the fish room late at night, or I walk in for the day, and I just walk right over here I am, in front of this sensor. Now, the second set of lights is on. Up in the front, you can see them. You can see I still have to print one more cover. I kind of left that as a to-do, because that would be blinding you. You see how that one blinds you and the other ones don't? Well, it took a few iterations, as you can see here. Those ones are too long. But I'm going to get back to the same spot here. Can Can you believe how many cichlids are in here now? Like I've been breeding up a storm. So if we go back to the same spot, that's how much light it gets when someone is actively in here, like feeding or working on the tank, whatever it is, which is going to save me. So already I went from having to clean algae once a week on the glass, and it takes like 15 minutes, to haven't done it in 3 weeks. Amazing improvement for me when I go out of town and just all of that. And so I'm even starting to see some of the algae that was the hardest to get rid of recede. So yes, did I change lights? Yes, I went to a cheaper system, and I'm making the overall fish room a smarter system. That's the overall goal. So there's more Rosie Barbs in here because I took them out of the 150 gallon. The algae that's starting to recede is kind of this algae right at the bottom. So usually it was like that dark brown. Now it's starting to go away. I think, yeah, like the reticulated hillstream loaches and stuff are just able to, I think they're able to make headway. Because we're growing less algae, they are doing a better job at actually eating it. Same with the Siamese algae eaters. We were growing algae faster than my crew could keep up. Now, very different lighting, as in we're not accentuating the reds and making them pop, but much more natural. It looks much more natural color like you'd see in the wild. But boy, all these fry growing out, there's hundreds of Psilocybe, Pseudotropheus psilocybe now. Yeah, they do a little bit of digging because they're breeding all the time. But I haven't done any maintenance in 3 weeks. So that would be those floating plants. And I'm really just seeing, like, am I achieving a better balance? And so far it seems like the answer is, yeah, I think I am. So you saw this automatically came on, and I'm using the YoLink system. I've got, if you look in the description and, like other places, and you find my Amazon list, you will find the YoLink stuff that I use. And so you can use it. So if this thing happens, do this thing. It's pretty nice. I could also set it so that, like, if I open the door on the way out, it could turn lights off. I haven't got that far yet. But chiming on some of the fry, here's one of the Kali Marcinae or whatever, Miracy. Looks like we're only going to grow out one, which is a bummer. More fish. So a lot of the barbs that I was breeding went to the store to make room. Oh yeah, I was playing with some sand just to make sure I still hate sand. So you see the sand up here, looks okay. And then you've got all that poop in the back. This is where I'm going to move those Corydoras actually to a tank like this. And I bought the sand after seeing it at Candy's house. And so if you're wondering what sand is that, it's the commercial medium sand. I want to say it was $18 for 100 pounds. It's washed and kiln dried. If you're looking to reuse our fish food containers, it's a nice scoop for doing that. Here's a second one. Lots of snails in here. And guppy fry. And then the adult, there's adult half-beaks in here that are afraid of the camera. You probably see them darting around in those big slender ones. They're not eating the fry either, which I would have thought they would have. Let's see. Still got the magenta guppies down here. Magenta tiger. They're kicking out fry. Got just one. This guy was being a little bit derpy. So, interesting observation since I moved this one. He will grab snails and like beat them against the glass and the rocks. I haven't got it on camera yet. I've seen him do it like 4 times though. He'll eat snails. So in this tank, we have some more accidental Rosie Barb fry. And then we've got fry from, let me get on a knee here. I don't have my, so the smaller fry here, they're all of these Bozemanite ooter. So Gary laying eggs raised up. And then I've got over here, we've got, these ones are the Kamaka. So there's some Kamaka fry in here, not a whole lot. Kind of an epic failure, I would say, with me going out of town, them kind of making out of my fry system, which the fry system works really well for so many species, except I didn't have it dialed in for rainbows. Been kicking out panda guppies here. Still love that fish. And then I've got, some fry on the best guppies in the world. Look at those. That's male and female right there. So let me get back up here. if we take a look at the 150 gallon, big changes in here. All the Rosie Barbs left. And what happened when I took out the Rosie Barbs, okay? So I put in a couple plants. So we put in Madagascar Lace. That's going in just fine, or growing in just fine, I should say. New growth and everything. And then Aponogeton bovinianus in the center there. One of the big leaves dying back, but new growth. And so what you're always looking for, by the way, whenever you buy any plant, these leaves kind of came in, you're looking for, right behind them, the baby leaves that are coming out. That means it's doing well in your system. Same thing's going on over here. New baby leaves coming in, and then I've got some Pogo stem and Stellatus octopus right there. All right, so so what happens when you take out the Rosie Barbs, Corey? Well, yes, they were really good at eating all the algae. However, I also had so many of them, they were also pretty good at chomping on my plants. Enough that I didn't like it. So you can see the Nubius leaves, some of those were looking pretty haggard with algae and everything. The new leaves looking good. Kind of the same with that up there. Finally, we're getting good growth out of this Vesuvius. So this is a sword plant that grows by runner. So that's starting to fill in. And we never got any eggs out of the Corydoras. Now I'm getting them every 4 days. So you can see, like, here's just a few. Right there in the center. And then if I go up here, you've got a few right there and a few more right there. These have been there since yesterday. And then I noticed I've got a few more right here, right on the glass there. And then, let me scoot over, a few more on the glass over here. So I got to grab my Corydora egg scraper, unless I'm lazy, because that's only probably, 20 eggs. Last spawn, which was like 4 days ago, was 100. I counted them because I was like, is this one of those things where it's way more than I think, but I don't count them? And the answer was yes, that is the case. It was 100. But I can see here, like on the bulbitis here, this plant in the back, they were attacking the fronds. So you can see, like, right there, that little new frond that would come out. That's a tasty morsel to a fish. They would eat that. And so these things look tattered, but the new growth over here is looking amazing. So the transition, I also put a bunch of guppies in here, just those females I bought on the cheap at the auction that had fry. Now even some of the babies are developing out. Like, there's a male. There's the first male. So I bought all the females. I got 20 pregnant females for $12. And I was like, let's just see what they do. So now we're seeing what they do. Oh, you can see are they breeding on camera right now? That'd be pretty funny. My orange lasers, at least a group of them. What are you guys doing? I'm coming to feed you, or are you trying to breed? Oh, no, she's breeding. Let me get that on camera. Oh. So she'll have an egg. So maybe I just got to wait to harvest later, but they'll pinch an egg on their back fins. So you can see her. Come on. She's got it in her back fins, that big female, trying to lay it. She's laying it under the egg, or under the leaf. Like, come on. So this is why when you breed Corydoras, oftentimes you'll want more males than females, because it takes a bunch of them to get them fertilized. So we'll keep waiting here to see if we can see more of this happen real time. They're up top. So yeah, all the eggs on the glass I harvest, but if they're laying them underneath plants and other things, no wonder. Yep, look at that. They're doing it right on the little bit of air going up there. So there could be eggs back there. Let's see if I can I get that through this angle? Kind of. That's as much as I can zoom in from this corner. Yeah, there's eggs right there. I can see there's like 5 or 6. I don't know if you guys can see them, but I can physically, yeah, they just laid those eggs under that plant back there. So pretty cool. Like, yeah. Are you gonna lay some eggs? You can see her right here. This is kind of fast, so I realize it's jerky motion, but they're moving quickly. Trying to keep tabs on And if I can spot any more females with the eggs sitting on the pectoral, or not the pecs, the ventral fins, going to lakes. I would like to get that on camera for you guys. That'd be a good. But yeah, I've read these guys a lot over the years. You guys have seen. Haven't always had a 4K camera in front of me. In fact, most times I never do, because I couldn't afford one back in the day. But yeah, so these guys breeding with the guppies, no problem. Got to go on egg collection today and harvest some more because they're really easy to raise up. So yeah, haven't done the glass in here really either. I need to. I keep getting water stains on the front. Like, I don't know if you guys can see like those 3 lines all throughout the front because I keep pulling eggs. So yeah, hopefully they'll lay a bunch more on the sides I can get to, because I probably can't reach those ones way in the back under the plant. But yeah, I guess I feel accomplished when my fish breed, because that means I've set up an environment. Oh, and originally, before I got distracted with them breeding, what I wanted to point out was they would not breed, or at least I never saw them out and about breeding like this until I took out the Rosie Barbs. So they were causing enough stress that they weren't. This fish wants to breed too. This, you can see its ovipositor is out. Let me see if I can show you guys. Right by its like anal fin here, underneath the bottom of the fish, this Bolivian ram. It's got one of its breeding organs out. Come on. It's so hard to see. Come on. You see that little nub kind of right by its pectoral fins or against its body, but that little nub out there right there. So yeah, tank's doing well. Breeding is in the water, so to speak. And yeah, so that's what I've been kind of, one of the goals was getting back to more live bears, and then that's how everything works, right? You go, hey, I'm going to do live bears, and then your fish room goes, just kidding, we're going to lay eggs like there's no tomorrow. And then I can't say no to harvesting them. So yeah, how do you not watch this all day? I'm supposed to be working by making a video, and I'm forcing you guys to watch the Corydoras spawn. I guess I just find it interesting, the courtship, the racing around, the laying underneath, stuff, and on the glass. It's pretty much wherever. Oh, she's got some. So if I can get it on camera, the back fins, focus on, the back fin. She's trapped some eggs. Like try to get my finger, like right above my finger there. There's some trapped eggs. And that male that's right to the right of her is like, hey, I'd like to fertilize those. How about you place them? And so what they do is they let them out, kind of like that nub I was talking about. They let them out of themselves. They catch them with those fins. And the Corydora eggs are real sticky and pretty hard. You can handle them with your hand. And so they'll clamp some eggs back there. Then they go find a spot. So you can see clamped underneath. You see those eggs? There's a group of, what was that, 5 or 6? And she's going to go find somewhere she thinks will be safe. And then the males will fertilize them. And so sometimes that's on the glass, and it makes it really easy for me. Sometimes it's underneath plants, and I'll never see them. Lay them on that glass. That'd be a great lesson for everybody on YouTube. That'd be so helpful if you would just lay those right there. I realize it's going in and out of focus, guys. There's not a whole lot I can do about that. Because of lighting and now you're going back there. It's not as helpful. Be a good teacher. So still holding the eggs, and this is the process. So she'll hold them until she wants to lay them somewhere. And then they'll keep doing that like all day. Are you going to lay them right there? Yep. We're getting it right there. See how she left them on the glass? I'm going to leave it here even if she moves so that we can maybe see the males go back and fertilize it. So she's right next to my magnet cleaner, and the eggs are like right underneath that. She's like taking a rest. I suppose the males could have fertilized them when they were next to her earlier too, so I don't want it to make it seem like I'm the end-all be-all authority or anything, because I'm not. But yeah. So having more males and females typically helps, because sometimes they have to help massage the eggs out a little bit. Kind of like goldfish do. He's going to keep hiding there? Is that what you're doing? Tired out? Could be this one female laying all these eggs, but typically what I find when people go like, what do you do to breed Corydoras? I put a lot of food. So intentionally yesterday I put a handful of like big sinking pellets in, knowing that in the past what I've found is if I put like an excess amount of food, I will get eggs. Because I think something to the effect of like, hey, excess food, now's the time to breed. Well, there seems to be nothing going on over there, so I'll focus in on these eggs here if I can. Which are really hard to. So yeah, maybe I'll grab that food, and I'll show you kind of the handful of food I put in. In fact, I've got it right here. It's a test food. We're not going to launch this food, so you'll be sad to know that. But it's basically giant pellets of magic small fish feed. I don't like the way it feeds out. It's not my favorite. But it's what I have on hand, and we're still trying to find the right delivery method for a sinking pellet. And so I grab, when I say a handful for a tank like this, it's this many pellets was yesterday, which would be an insane amount of food for this amount of fish. So I don't even spread them out that much. I just put them in. And we'll see what happens here. Normally, I don't even really watch. After I'm done testing, I just kind of like, yeah, it's fine. I move on. The eel will only eat frozen food, unfortunately. I've yet to ever see him take dry food. He's been a pain that way. But these bigger pellets, we actually ordered them to be floating for koi and stuff like that, and they came in sinking, and some do float, right? Like there's 1, 2, 3 floaters. But what I didn't like about the food is you see like now there's a cloud in the water. There's too much cast off from these pellets. And I found that the fish didn't go Captain Insano for them like the Magic Small Fish Feed, even though it's literally that formula. Like, I'm not sure why they're not. The fish, the Corydoras are right underneath this plant, by the way. So you can see the pellets underneath that fish if I zoom in. So the Corydoras love it. And there's something to be said for that of like, well, the bottom dweller loves it, sure. But I think we can get one that more than just bottom dwellers like. I'm really hoping to find a dry food that's so good, that a fish like this will eat it. Because we get other small nano fish that'll eat the magic small fish food, which normally would only ever eat live. But this guy has not relented so far. And he's a Lake Tanganyikan ellipsifer eel. People often ask, what is that guy? Kind of a rare one. So that female is still over there just resting. I can see more spawning activity back in the plants, though. They've been acting like they're going to spawn over here next with maybe different... Either that or I don't think a pellet fell down in there, so... But what my main goal is with the pellets like this... So normally, like yesterday, I would also feed Magic Small Fish Feed and the community pellet so that it feeds the rams, it feeds the guppies... And then the main goal with these pellets is so the Corydoras and things can eat over the next 4 to 6 hours. So on one hand, they hold together really well, which is nice. So that part's a perk. But what I find is as I kind of settle down on my desk and I don't have a camera in their face, they can eat over the course of hours as opposed to just having to eat over minutes. So you see this female again is trying to entice them, like, come lay over on this rock. I'm ready to lay eggs. but somehow males aren't ready yet. I've yet to see any eggs out of them. But it's only been maybe closing in on 2 weeks since I moved the Rosie Barbs out. But they've been wanting to spawn. Like this male has guarded this rock for months. And no babies out of them yet. So I haven't given up on them. But if you can't tell, I mean, I'm passionate about breeding fish. And I find it interesting. That's what got me into the hobby originally. It's what keeps me in the hobby. Yeah, making products is fun and doing things. All of it is fun, but this grabs my attention in life. Just all of a sudden, oh my gosh, look, they're doing this. I gotta record it, or I gotta see it, or I gotta raise those. I gotta set up a thing. And my wife gets excited when I, show her we have new babies and stuff. So I think that's why I've gravitated and I've become, or not become, I've stayed a fish person first, a plant person second. Because to me, the plants, they're great. I love growing them, but they are decoration for the fish, and making more fish is, I don't know, it's a living thing, I guess. The plants are living too, I get that, but so, yeah. Watch pot never boils. I was hoping to get some more action right on camera here, but yeah, so now you can kind of see, like, yeah, those pellets went in, and they'll get eaten. Almost every food, like you pick the worst fish food on the market, it'll get eaten. There's no doubt. But I like to see the reaction, because the reaction is what sells fish food. Normally, when most people buy a fish food, they put it in, and if fish don't gravitate towards it, they go, bummer, won't buy that again. And you get like one chance. And so often we got to go, well, your pet, whether it's a dog, a cat, or whatever, is used to its old food. You need to give it a chance for at least a week and then see what it does. Are you getting more spawns? Are you getting better color? Are you, is it feeding cleaner in the water column? Is it, give it a chance. But it's hard to do because people, they just go, well, they don't like it, and they move on, and maybe they stop feeding it or whatnot. Does that guy have a little pimple on his pectoral fin? Let's see if I can zoom in and get him to turn around. So this guy right here, on his other kind of swimmer fin, he's got that one on the side. It's like he's got a little pimple or tumor maybe right where, I'm going to call it his armpit, his shoulder, right where that other fin on the other side. But I got to wait for him to turn around and see. This is where spending time with your fish can really pay dividends. You can catch stuff early. I haven't spent this much time just looking at this guy and then happening to notice the other side of this specific fish, there may be a tiny dot. And so now we just got to track him. So it would be on that side. It would be facing us now. Yeah, you see that? Like that little dot? Something I got to check out and see if that's a, I don't put meds in, that's a watch. So is that going to get bigger? Is that going to heal itself up? Did he squabble with another fish and he got bit there? Did he, hit himself on something? Is he getting different nutrition and that's going to be a problem? Is it a tumor? But that's not, that's not ick. That's typically a cyst or something like that, and that's specific to that fish. So putting meds in wouldn't necessarily do anything for that. And in a tank like this where you've got fish spawning, in a perfect world, I would catch them out and I would put meds if I was going to do meds. But sometimes a fish just get a little bit of a growth like that and then it goes away, or it never gets bigger. It's kind of like you can get a mole or something and just go, yeah, that's just part of you. So, all right, well, we've been watching this tank for quite a while. If you guys are still with me, thanks for hanging out. I wonder if there's anything else to show that I've really been changing in the fish room as opposed to... yeah, let's see here. Got the cool new fish poster from Chris Lucup. If you guys joined me on the live stream, if you haven't, check it out. Because I went for 3.5 hours, or was it 2.5? Maybe 2.5 hours on Christmas. Had some free time and said, hey, I could spend it with you guys. Yeah. So yeah, I've been clearing up a lot of space, bringing in a lot more live bears. I've got some live bears coming in, some more guppies coming. That I want to play with. Trying to get, the duckweed tank. This, I think, is the only tank that has duckweed still. So I can't just drop a goldfish in because it'll eat my babies. I want to grow the babies out, move them, then get a goldfish in, have them eat. Speaking of which, my goldfish look amazing. I haven't shown you guys the Bristol Shubunkins. I know the goldfish nerds have been asking me. But the Bristol Shubunkins here have gotten chonky, like real chonky. Been putting on the size. Yeah, they've been really putting on some size, which is cool to see. Giraffe cat, you're getting bigger. You're getting harder to hide. It's a face only a mother could love. Still timid. That thing will get about 3 feet. Long term, he's going to live in the 800 gallon, and we won't be able to have plants on the floor anymore. So once he goes to there, so my plan is kind of at some point, we'll probably get tired of the African cichlid bonanza we've got going. It's still cool, but at some point, right? Is that 3 months from now, a year from now? We don't know. But at some point that could and it's not that I get tired of it because I think it looks amazing. It's that, you only get so many years to live. All right, I'm going to fix this overall. I'm tired. I got a little plate on the bottom of this thing that is making it so I can't set the camera down. And if I remove that, nice stable picture for you guys. And then I'd zoom in a little bit. Anyway, where I was is it's not that this isn't cool. It's that there's only so much time in life, and you might want to try other things. And so 3-foot catfish, haven't done that in probably 10 years or more now. I used to have a big giraffe catfish before I kind of started the store. I got rid of it when I started the store. And then I got another one that I think we found a home for because someone really wanted one. And so the plants will have to come up because they're basically a giant vacuum cleaner where all the substrate goes through their gills and spits it back out while they're looking for food. And anyway, so I was talking about, maybe I would take out the African cichlids and try something else. I still want to grow clown loaches. The clown loaches are super active, as you can see in the corner there. I'll zoom in a little more here. They're nice and active. And that's what I love about this tank is it is super duper active. I'll get some food ready here in front of the camera, but I feed them lots of community pellet. I got to open a new thing. I've been tracking it. I've been going through. I think I'm averaging with this many tanks, and the way I feed about 3 pounds a month, give or take. It depends. If my wife's feeding, we might hit 4. She feeds even heavier than I do. Fish are also happier when she feeds. So just opened up a brand new pound, which, by the way, pricing has gotten cheaper. I was able to lower the pricing on the community pellet and the 1 pound container of the Magic Small Fish Feed. And if you haven't seen any of our other stuff, we have the brine shrimp eggs back in stock. So I gotta grab. The scoop's right here. So this one's empty, right here. Grab my scoop. I put 3 tablespoons is what I'm feeding on this tank, and I'll zoom out a little bit so you guys can kind of watch that happen here. Get that in frame. So it'll go all throughout the tank. Feed all the babies. Feed all the clown loaches. And so it kind of does what Magic Small Fish Feed does, except for bigger fish. You'll see it kind of get more in the water column and everything. It's spreading out throughout the entire tank right now, up top, because it's a floating pellet. Over here, you can see that as it hits filtration and everything, it gets kind of pushed into the midwater, but it'll float back up. And so maybe I'll go handheld here but yeah, you can see it makes it all the way to the other side here. And the water flow will push it down, but then it'll come back up. You can kind of see it want to go back up. And you'll see these little fry in the weeds back here getting it. So then I realized it looks like, oh, you're way overfed. Like, yeah, that's what it looked like from here. We get the snow effect. But if you think about it, this many fish, it's 3 tablespoons of food for an 800-gallon aquarium. So, like, that's how I grew all of these babies, was you got to get them food. If you just put in a little bit, they can't compete to get it anymore from, you know, the bigger barbs and the tetras and the rainbows and the clown loaches. And so this allows these little guys to get bites. Yeah, they dig so much that they're covering up different spots. Like they'll breed right there. That's why there's a gap. So anywhere you see those pits, it's where they breed. So you can see they dig down here a lot and breed. And they like to breed up in this front corner also. And then you can see them actively like burying stuff over here as well. So, good news is, like, so you see all this food is floating through. Not a lot goes into my filtration. Like, yes, some pellets do make it in, like, for sure. But the lion's share is going to the fish. All these females holding going to release more babies. So at some point, I feel like we're going to hit a critical mass of, you know, another 100 not yellow labs, but Pseudotrophia celosi in here, and it's going to be more fish than water once they grow out. So yeah, my normal move would be doing that feeding, right? Feed the rest of the fish, which I have not done yet today, and then kind of come over here, and I'd be sitting working at my desk and just watching. If I get over here, I can watch that happen. So now I'm where I would live stream normally. And my view is something like that. I see it about that through the camera. But yeah, you can see that one light that doesn't have a shade on it right in your eyeball. So, yeah, that's what I'm working on. Slow and steady. Got some new products right in front of me. Oh yeah, new root tabs are out, by the way. They are actual tabs instead of capsules, so the people rejoice. Oh yeah, and you get twice as much fertilizer for your money. So there is that. We didn't increase the price, you just get twice as much. These guys doing anything cool back here yet? Nope, that female moved, but otherwise, same old, same old. So as I backed up enough, you can see the fish are working on the pellets. Also, I didn't put in the other food, so in that crypt, the guppies and the things are starting to work on the actual food that is available. This guy's always going, "Where's my worms at? You know I only eat worms. Sometimes I'll even eat brine shrimp if I'm that hungry." Yeah. Yep, got to go on the Easter egg hunt. So it'll be fun. I put some guppy grass in here to kind of fill in. I'm wanting to make this just a guppy tank that has way too many guppies. So, all right. Well, thanks for hanging out. Just wanted to update you. We've been putting out, on average, more than one video a week. We got the Deep in the Mullen podcast. If you want to watch and listen to that, we put it out every single week. And yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for buying our stuff. And yeah, happy holidays, and we'll see you next time.